So find your comfortable seat on your mat and get your spine aligned and your shoulders relaxed and your jaw relaxed. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in. Big exhale to the mouth. Just take a few gentle, normal breaths as you feel into your body. Just being aware of all the sensations. And go ahead and breathe a little slower, a little deeper. Ujjayi breathing perhaps. And then let's go ahead and check in with thought processes, emotions, energy, connection. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart. And let's go ahead and set our intention for practice today. Once you're very clear about your intention, take one more deep breath in through the nose. And a big exhale through the mouth. We're going to go ahead and start seated. So if your legs are extended, that's fine. If they're crossed, even better. Our theme is going to be curiosity, but it's going to be gentle curiosity. So tonight is actually the new moon, which means there's a lack of lunar energy, which makes a lot of us feel like we have more like really active energy. So we're going to be kind of powering our practice down, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to explore a little bit so you can be curious about how things feel in your body, how they feel in your psyche, and just be gentle about how you move. So we're going to start with super simple side bend. I'd like you to just put your right hand on the ground and slide it out, keeping your left hip planted. And then relax your neck. So your head will just hang to the right. Your left arm is going to kind of reach down towards the floor, almost by your left hip. When you do that, you're going to feel your left shoulder blade drop. And you can get curious about whether or not you're feeling a lot or a little sensation on the left side of your neck, left shoulder. Let's take a couple of breaths. And truly today, gentle, of course, but feel free to play with movement in any pose today. So maybe here you're moving the head a little, maybe not. It's completely your practice. On your next exhale, I want you to go and take that left arm up and all the way over so that you start feeling a stretch on the whole left side of your body. Your neck is going to stay relaxed. Now, if you're one of the people that likes to do the kind of relaxed arm, do that today. See what that feels like. Maybe see what it feels like to straighten the left arm. Maybe see what it feels like to bend the right arm. So you're just kind of exploring. I want you to have the freedom to move a little bit today. Gentle curiosity. And then as we come up from this, we're going to take this left arm that's in the air and bring it all the way around behind us. Put the right hand on the left knee. Lift the chest and gently twist to the left. And so again, you don't have to follow my directions or my suggestions for movement. If you want to be still right here, you certainly can. If you want to see what it feels like to take your right arm up in the air and bring the hand behind the head and lean into your twist a little bit, you might want to do that. You might want to start bringing the right elbow kind of towards your left. Just kind of explore a little bit today. No rules other than it should feel good. Let's go ahead and come back to the center. Roll the shoulders back. So some of the things I'm asking myself in today's gentle curiosity practice, as I get into a pose, it's like, what happens if I do this, this, or this? And also, does this feel like it's healthy and good for me? And if the answer is yes, I'm all in. And if the answer is I'm not sure, then I'm going to keep moving and exploring. So those are some guidelines for you. Let's put the left hand on the ground, slide it out. Keep your right glute planted, and then just relax your neck. So your head's going to hang to the left. Your right arm is going to reach down, like you're trying to touch the floor beside your right hip. Again, what you're basically doing is pulling that right shoulder blade down or depressing the right shoulder blade. And then just kind of feel into right side of the neck, right shoulder. Of course, you can move around if you like. And then let's go ahead and take the right arm up and over. It can be a soft arm. It can be a very strong, linear, energized arm. Maybe you bend the left elbow, maybe not. Just play. So this is all up to you. Anything you want to do in the pose is fair game today. And then this right arm that's in the air, we're going to go ahead and take that up and around behind us. Left hand on the right knee. Chest is lifting and we're twisting to the right. So again, you have all kinds of options here, including zero movement. You always get to do that as well. If you kind of want to play like we did on the other side, left arm reaches up, left hand behind the head. Maybe you lean into it a little more. Maybe you start to twist a little more. Just kind of see what feels good to you. And then come on out of that. Roll your shoulders back again. And we're just going to bring the soles of the feet together. Nothing too extreme here. Just bring your hands to the floor, kind of in front of your shins. If you have very tight hips and you're already feeling a stretch, this might be enough. We're being gently curious. So if you'd like to feel a little more, see what it feels like to maybe just walk your hands forward a little. You can round the back or lengthen the back. You can move. You can play with breath. All sorts of options here. And then from here, let's just go ahead and come on up and we'll transition onto our hands and knees. And start our little cat-cow stretches, arching and rounding a little bit. And this is a great place to get curious. I know I often encourage you to do lateral movement or circular movement, but just kind of play here for a few more breaths. See what it feels like to circle around the wrists or the shoulders. Notice what it feels like to move your tail back and forth. Maybe a little side bend, arch and round. Just kind of play with it. And then pause in neutral. From here, we're actually going to extend our left leg out behind us, flex the foot, and raise the left leg into the air. Before you do anything else, play with maybe moving your left leg around, or you might bend and straighten the knee. Just kind of feel free to move, all right? And then if you feel like you can, we'll go ahead and extend the right arm out. You can do all sorts of cool stuff with this too if you want. So whatever you want to do here, just be curious about it. And then we'll bring the right hand and the left knee back down. Maybe a little tail wag. Extend your right leg out behind you, flex the foot and raise it. Keeping both hands down for a moment, just in case you want to play with any movement in that right leg. And then if you can, go ahead and extend that left arm out. And again, you can play with all sorts of stuff here too. Bring your left hand and your right knee back down. Give yourself a little bit of a tail wag. And then we're going to play with a rocking child's pose. And this will be an extended child's pose for the first couple of times. So you might want to separate the knees a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to inhale and arch the back like we would for cow. And then exhale, buns to heels, forehead down.
extended child's pose. Inhale, coming up, arching the back. Exhale, rounding back into extended child's pose. One more time, inhaling, coming up, arching the back. And this time, as you exhale into child's pose, you're going to be holding it. So some of you are going to want to stay in extended. Some of you are going to want to go a little more traditional. You do whatever feels best for you. And just hold it for a couple of breaths, being gently curious about where, if anywhere, you feel this pose. Let's go ahead and scoot forward into Sphinx. Probably not anything you've ever thought of moving in. I actually sort of naturally do. For some reason, when I'm tractioning, it feels good to me to kind of rock my pelvis. Please feel free to do that. You can play with moving your shoulders or turning your head side to side, maybe even doing a lion breath. So again, being gently curious here, tractioning if you want to, moving if you want to, and remaining still if you prefer. And then we're going to push into our first downward facing dog. And I usually encourage movement on the first down dog anyway, so you might want to play with pedaling the feet a little bit. And then maybe not, you might want to play with rolling down dog. So rolling being a couple of different things. In a down dog, if you've ever seen a dog shake its skin when it comes out of water, kind of like rolling the spine sideways can feel pretty good here. You can also do it as kind of like a spinal undulation, right? Almost like a down dog cat cow, bending the knees a little bit and arching and then rounding back as the heels go down. So just kind of play with a little movement here. Again, gentle curiosity. And then we will walk our feet forward. Keep those knees bent and just take a few breaths in our ragdoll. And if you're like me and you normally hang really still, maybe you play with swaying today. Or if you normally sway, maybe you play with being still. Maybe you bend the knees deeper. Maybe you straighten them a little more. Maybe you shake your head. Just see what feels good to you. As you inhale, go ahead and kind of wave your body up. Inhale, rolling up and waving yourself up. And then bringing your palms together in front of your heart. Let's take a moment and be curious about how grounded we feel. So I want you to notice how your feet feel on your mat today. Notice how your spine feels. Check back in with your energy here. And then inhale and reach your arms up. And then maybe even do a little movement here. See what that feels like. And what does it feel like to give yourself permission to move? So I'm asking because I had a student a long time ago. I did a practice on this, and they said, like, I don't feel like I'm allowed to do this. So please know you have my permission to do it. You should give yourself permission to do it, and it should be fun. On your next exhale, we're going to go ahead and fold all the way forward to a standing forward bend. Maybe even take a couple of breaths to do something different here. So the most classic form of this pose has your fingertips in line with your toe tips. But what if you'd rather have your hands on the back of your calves and kind of pull your torso to your thighs a little bit? What if you wanted to wrap your arms behind your knees and grab your elbows? Anything is game today, right? So play around a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and plant the hands and look up and lengthen. And then back down. We're going to step back with our right foot. So I want you to have a left foot forward lunge. We're beginning everything on the left side today to honor the fact that we need to bring in more lunar, feminine left side energy. Maybe play with just kind of rocking back and forth here. You don't have to do that. I like to do that because I feel like I can get my hips to release a little more. You certainly don't have to. And then we're going to put the right knee down and go ahead and come up. And I'm not going to tell you what to do with your arms today. I want you to do whatever you want to do, whether it's hands on your hips, on your thigh, in the air, out to the side, whatever you want to do. I do want you to tilt your pelvis and move it forward, but then I want you to play with your movement. And remember, we're being gently curious. We're not trying to beat ourselves up here. It's not about, oh, that feels really deep. It's more like, oh, that feels really good. I want you to just play with that. We're trying to find the really good part of a pose today. And then we'll go ahead and bring the hands down on either side of the left foot and extend your left leg. Of course, we want to stretch the hamstring and maybe even the calf, but you can play in the pose. You can round your back, you can arch your back, you can take your head to your shin. Whatever makes you happy, you can take your hands in the air. And then from here, we're just going to move back onto hands and knees. Just wag your tail a moment. Again, just doing any little movements that you want. So today, obviously a different day, those of you that feel like you want the structure of regular vinyasas or even modified vinyasas, please feel free to insert those wherever. I'm kind of going to recommend more organic style movements today. So you have time from here to do a regular vinyasa. You have time to do child's pose and sphinx if you like that. But if you'd rather just kind of play on your hands and knees for a moment before you get into down dog, that's also okay. Couple of breaths and we'll meet up in down dog. So when you're ready, we'll go ahead and turn toes under, downward facing dog. And be curious too, very gently curious about what's going on in your mind. I want you to notice if you judge yourself or criticize yourself. If you do not listen to that voice. It's the voice of a liar. Don't listen to that. Notice if you feel inhibited, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you're like, wow, that feels great. I'm awesome at this. If that's the case, listen to that voice. We're going to step the right foot forward. Again, you can rock back and forth if you want, or wiggle. So it's really interesting what we can learn about ourselves when we give ourselves a little bit of freedom. Some of us take it and run with it. Some of us kind of want to shrink and hide. The cool thing is you're in your own home, so you shouldn't feel too inhibited. Let's go ahead and drop your left knee down. Hands can be wherever you want them. Your pelvis is going to tilt, your rib cage is going to lift, the hips are going to move forward. And then you can do whatever you want to do. Whatever feels good. And it really should feel pretty yummy. So if you're moving around and you find a spot that's like, oh, that's so good, then just stay there, enjoy it, kind of savor it. And then we're going to bring our hands down on either side of the right foot and extend the right leg. And then anything else is fair game. So whatever you want to do. And then from here, we're going to be stepping forward to our standing forward bend, whatever variation you like. And then inhaling, reaching the arms up. And exhaling, palms together in front of the heart. And just pause for a moment and notice, not only how does your body feel with this little bit of extra movement in your practice today, but how do you feel mentally and emotionally and energetically? We're actually going to go ahead and turn sideways now. Nice wide step with your feet pointing forward. We're going to be doing a really gentle, breath-centered side-to-side lunge. So for those of you with knee issues, it might be a tiny, gentle movement, just like what you see me doing right now, real small. Those of you that have healthier knees, you might be going a lot more. Some of you might want to do this hanging forward, grabbing your elbows, making deep, deep side lunges. Some of you may want to do this up in the air with your arms going crazy. I want you to have some fun. Maybe even coordinate it with your breathing, side lunging, inhaling and exhaling. What feels good to you? We'll go for a couple more breaths. And then come on back up. And just pause for a moment, roll your shoulders back. And then from here, toes still pointing forward if possible, hinge at your hips. And either get fingertips or the full palm to the ground. And if you need to, you can use a block. And then we're just gonna walk the hands forward and let the chest sink down. So it's kind of like a wide-legged down dog. And you can play with what it feels like to pull the hips back or to let the hips go forward. Those of you that like side bending, you might keep one arm out and reach the opposite arm underneath to stretch. It's almost like a standing variation on threading the needle. You might want to play with that. And then we're just going to slide our hands back towards the mat. Toe heel the feet in a little, but not a lot. Toes rotate out a little bit. You can even walk your hands up your thighs and come on up. Roll your shoulders back. So we're going to do 5 or 6 goddess squats now. And again, you get to do whatever you want with your arms. So if you have knee issues, or if you want to be really gentle with yourself today, you have your hands on your thighs and do little goddess squats. If you're feeling a little spunkier, you can do whatever you want with your arms. But we're going to be inhaling and standing like we are right now, exhaling into the squat. Do whatever you like. Let's do 5 of them. So take a deep breath in and then just exhale and do a goddess squat. Just keep going with your breath. Doing whatever feels good in your body. And as you come back up on this last one, you might even want to wag your tail a little bit. Take the heels out now. So your feet are kind of rotated in slightly. And we'll keep the right foot rotated in. Your left foot's going to rotate out. Remember, we're doing everything on the left side first today. So kind of take a warrior 2 stance. Now, the great thing is you can move in and out of it today. So we're going to play in our warrior 2. That might mean that you bend and straighten the knee, or it might mean that you keep your knee bent and you play with movement here. But I want you to just take a few breaths and explore what it feels like to move in a warrior 2 stance. And we'll go ahead and straighten the left leg. Rotate the left foot in and the right foot out. Remember, you may bend and straighten the knee as much as you like, or just keep it bent and play with your arm and torso position. So just play a little bit here in your warrior two stance. And then you can straighten your right leg, rotate the right foot in. Let's toe heel the feet in, maybe a little wider than shoulder distance. We're gonna play with some yogic squats. You may rotate the feet out today if you need to. Knees can rotate out if you like. You can keep them parallel, you can go narrow, you can go wide. It's your practice. So let's see what it feels like to keep the heels flat and drop into a squat. You always have permission to move here. You might want to raise and lower the hips. You might want to do a little side to side movement. Take another breath or two. And then let's come all the way back up. Bring your arms up into the air. Do whatever you want to do for a moment. And then exhale. Feet together, palms together. So we are going to balance, but it's literally free for all. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to give you the number 15 to shoot for. I want you to try and stand on one leg for a count of 15. Now, hopefully that would be 15 seconds. But if you need to, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you could go fast. I don't care what you do. You can do tree pose, you can do moving balance, you can do whatever you want to do. 15 seconds, beginning with standing on your left foot, and then you'll do the same thing on the right foot. All right, give it your best go. Off you go, standing on the left foot first. And if you've done 15, take a moment, plant both feet down, reconnect, reroot, and then shift to your right foot and do whatever you want for 15 seconds. Off you go. And both feet down. Come back up to the front of the mat, bring your feet together, bring your palms together. Take a moment, just kind of rub your palms together. This is actually very grounding energy, which is nice at new moon time. It will also generate a little bit of warmth. And then take a big inhale, reach up, do whatever you want to do. Exhale, fold forward, however it feels good today. And then let's just look up and back down. We're moving back onto hands and knees. And we're just gonna play with a modified side plank, or for those of you that wanna make it more exciting, you can play in a full side plank, and we're gonna play with all kinds of movements. And again, you get to do whatever it is that you wanna do. I'm gonna have you start on your left side. So your left foot's gonna kick out, right leg extends, right hand towards the ceiling. So you could stay here, you could roll open, you could make circles with your right arm. You could raise your right leg. You could grab your right foot. You could take your left knee off the floor. I want you to play with it and see what feels good to you. And then we'll bring that right hand and right knee back down. Just give yourself a little tail wag or hip circles. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So your right foot's gonna kick out, your left leg's gonna extend. Left hand reaches up. You know what to do. Be gently curious, play, move, explore. I always like to notice what's different on my left side and my right side because they are never ever the same. So I kind of like to pay attention to that. And then we'll go ahead and bring the left hand and the left knee back down. Do some more movement here. Again, those of you that like full-on vinyasas, go for it. And then whatever it is that you're doing, when you're ready, let's meet up in downward facing dog. And maybe it's a dancing down dog today or a rolling one. Just take a few breaths. And then we're going to walk our feet forward and have a seat. Legs extended. Coming into Dandasana. So I'm going to have us in the same way that we did those kind of rocking child's poses where you're sort of in and out of it. We're going to do 3 rolling forward bends, and then you can stay in it however you like. So I want you to inhale and reach the arms up. You're going to exhale however you want to, just kind of wave yourself down over your legs, and then inhale however you want to, come back up. Exhale, fold forward over your legs, inhale, come back up. Exhale and fold forward, and this one you get to hold, so you can either lengthen or round. You can continue to move while you're here if you like. You do what feels good to you. As long as it really feels good, you're doing perfect. And then we'll go ahead and just slowly roll ourselves back up from this, 1 vertebra at a time. Coming all the way up, roll your shoulders back a couple of times. And then we're going to keep the left leg straight. I want you to bring your right foot to the inside of your left thigh. Just lean out of your left leg, however it feels good. And then come on up, and we're just going to pick the right knee up. So your right foot is flat and it's inside that left leg. You can hang on to it right here. You can hang on to it and twist to your right. You can bring your left elbow outside. Want you to do whatever feels good as far as a gentle twist to the right. And once you've kind of found your happy place in the twist, then what I'd like you to do is, as you're looking over your right shoulder, I want you to do a lion breath. Remember, that's where we open our eyes wide, our mouth wide, we stick our tongue out, and we exhale through the mouth. So off you go. Inhale, rotate back around. Pick your right foot up and bring it on top of your left thigh. Flexing your right ankle and just lean out again. So this is a gentle right hip opener. This is a good place to get curious again in the realm of what if. So what if I press a little on my right thigh? What if I take my torso a little more to the left? What if I actually press my right arm straight and traction? What if I lean forward more?
play with this until you find the yummy spot for you. And then come on out of that. As you do, here's what I'd like you to do. Put your right foot flat with your right knee bent. You're leaning back on your hands. Bend your left knee. Feet are a little wider than the shoulders. I want you to drop both of your knees to your left. And gently, within reason, make sure it's okay with your knees. I want you to press the inside of your right knee down into the ground. Very gentle IT stretch on the right side. Come on up from that and extend your right leg out. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh and just lean out over your right leg now. Come on up from that. We're going to pick the left knee up. And again, you can do what you like here. You could just hug the knee if you want. You can put your left hand behind you and gently twist to the left. You can bring your right arm outside your left leg and twist to the left. Whenever you get to the place that you think, oh, this feels really good, then we're going to do that single lion breath over the left shoulder. Off you go. And then as we rotate back around, we're going to pick the left foot up and bring it on top of the right thigh and flex the ankle and lean out again. And maybe that's all you want to do. Maybe you just kind of gently want to hang out over your left leg, and that's perfect. Maybe you want to press on the outside edge of the left leg, or maybe you want to traction by getting that left arm straight and moving your torso to the right. Maybe you want to keep twisting. Maybe you don't want to do any of this. It's completely up to you. Couple more breaths. And then come on up from that. Lean back on your hands again. Feet are flat. Feet are wider than your shoulders. This time we're dropping the knees to the right. So I want you to bring that left inner knee towards the floor if you can. You're just trying to get that gentle IT band stretch. And then come on up. Take a moment, wiggle the legs in and out. And then from here, we're going to kind of do that windshield wiper leg. So here's what I want you to do. Just exhale both knees over. Inhale them up. Exhale, drop them in the opposite direction. So we're just pressing the inside edge of the knee into the floor, trying to get a gentle, gentle, gentle outer hip stretch. Doing it this way is considerably gentler than doing it when you're lying on your back. And usually it keeps your back out of it, which is kind of a good thing. Let's go one more time in each direction, or whatever it is that will make you feel even. And then we're just going to take the legs nice and wide, flex the feet. And so yet again, we're going to be doing some movement here. The only thing I ask you to do is keep your legs really active. Now, beyond that, this is up to you. So some options might be some really nice, yummy side bends. Maybe that's what your body wants. Or maybe you want to work on leaning forward, but you come up in between and you go a little farther. Or maybe you're leaning in each direction a little bit. I want you to figure it out for your body, what feels good. You have about 6 slow breaths here. So you do what you want to do. Two more breaths. And then as you come up, just use your hands to help your legs together. Let them roll a little bit. You might even use your hands. I love to use my hands on the outside edges of my thighs to make my legs roll so that my legs are totally passive. Plus, you're kind of massaging some acupressure meridians as you do this. You don't have to if you don't want to. One more breath. Any other little movements you need before you roll onto your back. And that's what we're gonna do now. We're actually gonna play with our rolls. So obviously I want you to honor your back, but rock side to side for a moment. See what it feels like to make your knees go in circles. Kind of play with that. And then if it feels good to you, if it's something you like to do, you might play with rocking back and forth and moving around a little bit as you do that. This can be pretty beneficial for the muscles that run on either side of your spine. So just kind of play with it. If it feels good, awesome. If it doesn't, find something that does feel good. Couple more breaths. And that might just be lying on your back, hugging your knees. Maybe that's all you want to do, and that's fine. And then we'll all just come back onto our backs and put the feet flat on the mat. So I'm going to suggest therapeutic bridge lifts here, being gently curious about what happens if your feet are wider than I normally tell you to put them, or perhaps being curious about not lifting as high as you normally do, or lifting higher than you normally do. Or maybe once your hips are in the air, moving them side to side a little bit before you lower them down. You can do whatever you want. I suggest the inhaling and lifting and exhaling and lowering, but if you want to hold bridge, you can hold bridge. So you get to do it your way today. Whatever feels good to you in your body, that's what I want you to explore, is how to make this feel the best it's ever felt. At least move in time to your breath. Even if you're going to hold your bridge, just play with it. Be mindful of your breathing. Let's go 2 more bridge lifts if you're going in time to your breath. If you're just holding bridge, 2 more breaths. And then we'll all hug our knees in and rock side to side. And then we're going to be doing full twists with each breath. So we're going to keep them gentle. That way, if you need to, you can literally rock all the way over from one side to the other. But if you can, with your knees bent and together and up in the air, as you exhale, just let both knees drop over to the right, and then we'll inhale feet and knees all the way up. Normally, I make you keep your feet down. This is a full twist. Exhale, take your knees to the left. Kind of play with this. If you want to play with straightening and bending the knees as you go, you can do that. So you kind of get to play here, just allowing the spine to rotate and twist in a way that feels good to you. Let's go 2 more on each side, or whatever makes you feel even. And then as you come back to the center, you can do the one freeform move that we always do, which is happy baby. So if you've never truly rolled around and experimented in your happy baby, today's your day, man. Just give it your all. Play with 0 inhibitions, 0 expectations, no self-judgment, just gentle curiosity. What am I feeling right now?
how's my body doing? And how do I feel mentally and emotionally with this whole weird free form yoga thing? Just check in with yourself. And then when you do feel ready, we are gonna lengthen the low back like we always do because it's so helpful. Go ahead and let the soles of your feet come together on the mat. Let your knees drop open. And we'll take a couple of breaths, just lengthening the low back. So the next time you breathe in, tilt the pelvis back, press your lumbar spine into your mat. Breathe normally. On your next exhale, relax, just pause for a moment. And then the next time you breathe in, one more time, press the low back into the mat. Just hold it for one more breath. And the next time you exhale, relax, extend your legs. And we're going to do our final little weird movement because here's what I want you to do. If you've got room where you're lying down, I want you to almost do what would look like a snow angel. So I want you to take the legs wider, take your arms overhead, and then bring your hands by your sides and bring your legs together. If you've got the room to do it a couple more times because what I want you to notice is where in this range of movement are your legs most comfortable and where from the shoulders down are your arms most comfortable, and then put them there and leave them. Take a deep breath in, clench your fists, squeeze your toes, clench your teeth, and then exhale through your mouth. And totally relax. So we did all this free form movement, all this gentle exploration and experimentation. Now we're going to be supremely still and observe what happened. What did we create? What loosened? What opened? What felt really good? What maybe still needs a little work from us? So in total stillness, continuing to be gently curious. Where in your body feels pretty amazing right now? Where in your body do you feel like maybe you could have released a little more? What are your thoughts around this whole thing? Have you labeled the practice as good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant? Just notice, we're not judging ourselves for any of these things. We simply want to know more about us in this situation. So what are your thoughts around the practice? How do you feel emotionally? Do you feel like you were fed because you listened to what your body wanted? Do you feel somewhat uncomfortable because maybe it wasn't quite what you had hoped for or expected? Just notice any emotions that you're having. Again, without judgment, just observation. And then really observe your energy. And maybe you immediately know what I mean by that. Or maybe you're not really sure what the heck that's supposed to mean. So just notice, do you feel calm and peaceful? Do you feel very relaxed? Or do you feel really energized and ready to take things on? I mean, just notice how your energy is.
we learn the most when we have contrast. So when we move, we also become educated about stillness. When we have words, when we listen, we also can become educated about silence. The practice today was different. Hopefully, the contrast of all your movement to your current stillness holds some little nuggets of wisdom for you. We're constantly in transition, much like the moon that is always either waxing or waning. We're always in transition. Every day is a different day. Every breath is a different breath. It's worth it 100% to pay attention to that. Start to move your fingers and toes a little bit. Deepen your breath. When you're ready, take that deeper breath in, spread your fingers and toes. Exhale through your mouth and relax them. Even deeper breath in, just stretch and lengthen and exhale. Hug your knees in or bend your knees, whatever you want to do. Roll to your right side. And then go ahead and press yourself up into sitting. And so as you come to your seated position, you might just take an opportunity to check back in from this place and see what might be different or not about when you first checked into everything at the beginning of your practice. Maybe muscles feel different, maybe attitude feels different, who knows? Maybe nothing has changed, and that's also okay. Always just observing, just noticing. So for our pranayama today, to honor the new moon and to bring in a little bit more lunar energy, we're going to do a really simple version of Chandra Vedana, which is a lunar breath. You're just going to make a thumbs up sign with your right hand so that you can use your right thumb to block your right nostril. We'll be breathing in and out through the left side. And I would love it if you guys would actually make that a 1-to-2 ratio breath. So whatever you inhale through your left nostril, you will exhale for twice as long, also through the left nostril. Your left hand can rest palm up or palm down on your left knee or thigh. If you feel inclined to do any finger position or mudra, go for it. I won't even tell you what, just do. If you want, do it. Whatever your body thinks feels right is definitely right. So, nice straight spine. Deep breath in through both nostrils. Big exhale through both nostrils. And then block your right nostril and do 1-to-2 ratio breathing through the left side only. Finish off the breath you're on and allow the right hand to rest down. And just sit with this for a moment, taking one last opportunity to simply observe. Impartial, non-judgmental observation. And just slowly bring your palms together in front of your heart. Take a moment in gratitude for the gift of movement. We are so fortunate that our bodies move the way that we do. Also for the gift of stillness. We're fortunate that we can, in fact, sit still and allow our minds to calm, like sediment settling in water so that we can find clarity. Gratitude for this practice, this whole practice of yoga. Gratitude for this day that we get to be alive. Gratitude for this breath that we're breathing. One more huge inhale through the nose. Big sigh through the mouth. Bringing our palms together in front of our foreheads. We're just reminded to be present, to pay attention. Bringing our palms together in front of our mouths. We're reminded to speak our truth. And palms together in front of the hearts. We're reminded to keep our hearts open so that we can feel gratitude. We can feel love, kindness, and compassion, and share that with the world. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.